In a desolate, ruined landscape, a lone figure stands beneath a vast night sky dominated by a massive pillar of clouds. The figure is a young man carrying a companion in a mechanical chair on his back. As they survey the wasteland from a rocky cliff, he stares into the distance with a grim and thoughtful expression, the weight of their journey etched on his face. Meanwhile, the young woman in the chair looks up, her gaze fixed on the twinkling stars above them. She quietly wonders how the stars in the sky can be so incredibly beautiful. She adds that even though she sees them every night, their beauty never seems to fade. Her companion bluntly replies that they are just burning balls of gas, a fact he thinks she should know well. The girl simply says that it's enough to enjoy their beauty just as they are, without overthinking it. He listens to her words, a faint, almost unnoticeable smile appearing on his face for a brief moment. Shifting the topic back to their mission, he asks if she is sure they are heading in the right direction. She says she will check and immediately activates a holographic interface that glows around her chair. She reports that since the mother satellite crashed, they have been traveling for 20 days and 14 hours. Her eyes scan the holographic map as she tracks the satellite's position based on its crash trajectory. She estimates it fell about 300 to 350 kilometers away, and that the data it left should be to the northwest. But she warns that the area ahead was a conflict zone, suggesting something dangerous may be dormant there. Despite her concerns about the potential danger, he calmly replies that they will have to face it. He asks if the location is nearby, and then raises a pair of binoculars to scan the horizon. He finds their target on the device's screen, but she informs him they need to get closer to connect to the satellite. He lowers the binoculars, his expression serious as he thinks about the mother satellite. He recalls that it stored the lost system data on a sub-satellite so they could regain what was lost. He quietly remarks that the satellite's actions feel a bit like a mother's love. The girl then reveals that she was originally one with Mother before her own consciousness awakened, and she split off. With a determined look, she says she wants to meet the real Mother, not just the data left behind. She feels a certain warmth from the sub-satellite, which only strengthens her desire to see her creator in person. Her companion listens to her words in silence, his expression thoughtful. After a moment, he simply says, "Let's go," and starts walking through the rocky landscape. As they travel, she asks if she will have to leave his carrier once she recovers the data and can walk. He confirms she will. She playfully suggests he could just take her all the way, since she enjoys traveling with him. A faint smile appears on his face, amused by her lighthearted comment. He tells her she was always this playful, even when they first met. She replies that he has changed a lot, pointing out that he never used to smile at her jokes. He seems surprised by her observation, asking if he is actually smiling right now. His companion falls silent, her gaze becoming serious as she looks at him. She then asks him about the day the Civil War began, questioning why he granted her request back then. The scene shifts to a memory of that day, focusing on him standing alone amidst the chaos. A flashback explains that Mother was a transcendent being created with all of humanity's wisdom, meant to lead them to peace. However, things turned out differently as human greed led to a war to control Mother. On the day everything collapsed, she remembers approaching him in the burning city and asking to see Mother. The memory shows her, damaged and with robotic limbs, pleading for him to take her to see Mother. He stared back at her then, his expression filled with shock and concern as destruction raged around them. Back in the present, he looks down, remaining silent as he remembers that chaotic day. He finally starts to answer her question, recalling his thoughts and feelings from back then. As he begins to say that his time with her was meaningful, their conversation is abruptly interrupted. The girl suddenly warns him that the dormant machines in the area have detected their presence. He immediately asks how many enemies they are facing, and she reports that her sensors have picked up about 13. With a look of grim resolve, he accepts that they have no choice but to fight if they want to proceed. He adjusts the collar of his cloak, mentally and physically preparing himself for the upcoming battle. He tells her he will be right back, but carefully setting her carrier down on the ground. A bright blue energy begins to crackle around his fist as he focuses his power for an attack. The energy solidifies into a massive, glowing blue gauntlet that covers his entire arm. He unleashes his ability, called Gaia Pulse, channeling immense power through his armored fist. He thinks to himself that he avoided using this power earlier because he was worried about trackers. His companion calls out his name, watching with a worried expression as he stands ready for combat. She pleads with him not to push himself too hard, her voice filled with genuine concern for his safety. He glances back at her with a faint, reassuring smile, though he doesn't say a word. Promising that he will be back, he turns and leaps down from the cliff to face the enemies below. As he charges forward, he acknowledges that this isn't a rational choice, but he doesn't regret it. In the rocky terrain below, massive mechanical constructs begin to stir, their red lights glowing ominously. An automated intercept system activates, and dozens of small robotic sentinels rise from the ground. Moments later, larger weapon turrets emerge from the cliffs, all aiming their barrels at the lone intruder. The cannons of the automated turrets begin to wear and power up, ready to fire at their target. In a flash of light, the machines lock on and prepare to unleash a coordinated barrage of attacks. The turrets hum with energy as they aim directly at the young man who has invaded their territory. He notes how quickly the scrap left over from the Second War has reacted to his presence. The cannons immediately open fire, launching a volley of bright, superheated energy blasts. The projectiles streak through the air, their intense heat and light illuminating the battlefield. A powerful beam of energy hurtles directly towards him, threatening to incinerate him on the spot. But the warrior is quick to react, drawing a device from his side as another blast flies past. He summons a massive blade made of pure blue energy, its light contrasting with the enemy fire. With a determined grit of his teeth, he swings the powerful energy sword with all his might. He cleanly slices through the incoming energy blast, deflecting the attack with his weapon. The warrior continues his charge, weaving through the chaos with his glowing sword held high. He gracefully dodges another attack while preparing to strike down one of the mechanical opponents. As he lands, the surrounding turrets unleash another wave of coordinated energy blasts at him. A volley of lasers converges on his position, forcing him to keep moving to avoid being hit. He ducks and slides across the ground, narrowly evading the relentless barrage of enemy fire. He charges directly at one of the larger robots, dodging its clumsy attempt to strike him. The warrior effortlessly slips under the machine's massive arm, moving in for a counterattack. Suddenly, a new group of heavily armed warriors appears on the battlefield, observing the fight. A woman with a massive pink energy weapon orders her squad to fight with everything they have. The lone warrior fights with a fierce determination, easily slicing through the robotic enemies. A voiceover explains that the key to their past victory was this kind of irregularity in combat. A flashback shows the warrior and his comrades fighting side by side, their unpredictable tactics overwhelming the enemy machines. Their combined strength and unique fighting styles tear through the enemy ranks, creating explosions and chaos. The warrior stands amidst the smoke and destruction, noting that this was the crucial difference between them and artificial intelligence. He recalls how that very difference led them to victory in the Great War against the machines. But a new problem arose after the war ended, regarding what to do with soldiers who were both living beings and war machines. With scars and a weary expression, he remembers how they became a source of controversy. For humanitarian reasons, they were deemed a lingering danger to the newly established peace. Without a place in the ruined world, they were nearly cast aside as forgotten relics of the past. Fortunately, they were eventually given a new purpose as vital protectors of the city. The warrior is seen in a new uniform, his expression stoic as he stands guard, his new role defined. He receives an order to escort a valuable asset, and he is soon seen overseeing a transport. Back in the present, the girl says that diversity should come with respect. She wishes everyone could be like them, different but still able to understand each other. Her companion listens to her words by the fire, his gaze thoughtful and quiet. His companion then happily announces that she thinks she will be able to walk again starting tomorrow. She explains that her system has been restored, and her energy levels are finally stable again. As she speaks, a holographic clock appears in her eye, indicating her systems are rebooting. But before she can finish her thought, she suddenly senses someone approaching their location. She alerts him that about 10 people have appeared from the south as an armed group arrives in the distance. Their leader states her tracking ability is flawless, confirming that Unit 52 is within a 4-kilometer radius. Another member of her squad, a small figure with a large helmet, says he can see their target's signal with his Gaia. His device shows a faint energy signature on the horizon, pinpointing the location at 328 degrees north. The tracker relays the information to his leader, confirming the target is 4 kilometers ahead. The woman warns her team not to underestimate their opponent just because he appears to be alone. She adds that while he is now considered a traitor, he was once a fearsome monster of war. A brief, intense memory of his past power flashes through her mind, her expression showing a mix of awe and fear. She readies her glowing pink weapon, preparing her squad for the difficult fight that lies ahead. Meanwhile, back at the campfire, the young woman remarks that they almost ended their journey right there. Her companion firmly reassures her, saying there is no way he would ever let that happen. With a determined gaze, he promises that he will see their mission through no matter what obstacles they face. A flashback reveals a world on the brink of destruction, ravaged by a second world war born from humanity's cruelty. The narration explains that to combat the threat, every nation began to mass-produce powerful war machines. The warrior remembers that he was created as a product of that very era of conflict and desperation. The enemies he fought were also created by the needs of the time, such as massive, heavily armored robots. He then reflects on the fundamental difference that existed between his kind and their purely mechanical foes. He touches the emblem on his cybernetic arm, a reminder of what he is. They were humans implanted with the bio-weapon Gaia, giving them incredible power that manifested as glowing energy. Their enemies, however, were mechanical weapons called Delta, equipped with artificial intelligence rivaling humans. The flashback continues, showing him locked in a fierce battle, his glowing arm clashing against an enemy's red energy blade. He reflects that in the end, the bio-weapons and the machines were not so different from each other. The Delta robot attacks with a powerful spin, but the warrior gracefully dodges the sweeping blow. Another combatant fires a beam of golden energy, showcasing the chaotic nature of the battlefield. He parries another strike, the clash of energy creating a brilliant burst of light and sparks. The Delta robot relentlessly fires another energy blast, its movements calculated and precise. A powerful beam strikes him directly, the immense force of the impact sending a shock wave through the air. He realizes with alarm that the artificial intelligence is reading his every move completely. He is hit again, understanding that the machines always act with the most optimal and efficient movements. He continues to fight, clashing his red energy blade against the robot's weapon in a desperate struggle. Despite the machine's perfect calculations, it is eventually overwhelmed and consumed by an explosion. The warrior reflects that while artificial intelligence can overwhelm humans with its analysis, it has a fatal flaw. He knows that despite their power, they have not yet reached the processing capability of the human brain. The narration explains that the brain controls countless complex bodily functions all at once. Humans injected with Gaia can harness this incredible control, and their greatest advantage is their unpredictable imagination. This allows them to step outside of statistical predictions, a feat the AI cannot replicate. They can make judgments in situations that defy simple logic, giving them an edge in battle. With intense focus, the warrior puts this theory into practice, preparing to unleash an unpredictable attack. Back in the present, he clashes his blue energy gauntlet against one of the dormant machines. He unleashes a massive wave of power, destroying multiple robots at once with a single, overwhelming strike. He looks around in surprise as the ground begins to shake violently, signaling a new threat. The battlefield is littered with the smoldering remains of defeated robots. But the danger is far from over. A massive piece of wreckage is suddenly pushed aside as something enormous emerges from beneath the ground. Dust and debris fill the air, as the colossal machine rises from its dormant state. The gargantuan robot, identified as the Imperial Army weapon CTR-07, towers over the battlefield. The warrior curses, shocked that such a powerful and ancient weapon is still operational. He knows this is no ordinary machine, as it is a high-intelligence war weapon that can analyze and adapt to its opponents. He shouts for his companion to create a spear as he charges forward to face the new threat. He skillfully weaves through the remaining smaller robots, his energy sword glowing brightly. A massive explosion erupts in his path, but he continues his advance without hesitation. The remaining machines are taken aback by his sudden, aggressive charge toward their leader. He uses his energy to propel himself high into the air, shouting at the robots not to interfere. With a look of intense concentration, he presses a button on the device attached to his chest. The device glows as he activates level 2 of his power, preparing for a devastating attack. A massive pillar of blue energy erupts from his body, his power reaching a new, incredible height. He roars for the machine to go back to sleep as he dives down, surrounded by a whirlwind of destructive energy. The smaller robots power up their cannons, their red lights glowing, as they prepare to defend their leader. They unleash a coordinated barrage of powerful energy beams, all aimed at the descending warrior. But he is unfazed, effortlessly deflecting the volley of attacks with his swirling aura of blue energy. After his devastating attack, all the robots on the battlefield fall silent. He lands amidst a group of machines, his presence immediately drawing their attention. One of the robots swings its massive arm at him, but he easily blocks the attack with his glowing blue sword. He ducks under another strike, his movements fluid and precise as he prepares a counterattack. With a powerful swing, he unleashes a wide arc of blue energy, slicing through the machine's legs. The robot collapses, its limbs severed by the warrior's incredibly sharp energy blade. He continues his assault, piercing another machine's core with a direct and powerful thrust. With a look of grim determination, he channels more energy into his attacks. His eyes glowing with power, he leaps into the air, spinning and cutting through multiple enemies in a whirlwind of destruction. Another robot attempts to strike him, but he gracefully dodges and continues his relentless assault. He moves with incredible speed and agility, his blue energy blade a blur of motion on the battlefield. His face is a mask of intense focus as he cuts down one enemy after another without pause. He unleashes a flurry of slashes, the blue energy from his sword tearing through the remaining machines. The battlefield is left in ruins, with the mangled and destroyed bodies of the robots scattered everywhere. Suddenly, the massive CTR-07 appears before his companion, its terrifying form towering over her. She panics, realizing she is helpless to defend herself as her data has not yet been fully restored. The colossal machine raises its sharp, bladed arm, preparing to strike her down in a single, devastating blow. She watches in horror, wondering if this is the end of her journey. With a look of desperation, she closes her eyes and cries out her companion's name one last time. Just as the robot's weapon is about to land, a flash of white light appears in front of her. A powerful beam of blue energy intercepts the attack, creating a brilliant explosion of light and force. The warrior appears just in time, blocking the massive robot's attack with a powerful circular slash of his own. He furiously roars at the machine, questioning how it dared to lay a hand on his companion. With pure rage in his eyes, he shouts, asking the colossal weapon who it thinks it is messing with. He unleashes a final, overwhelming wave of blue energy, completely obliterating the giant robot. His face is a mask of fury as he puts every last bit of his strength into the devastating final blow. After the battle, he walks over to his companion, who sits unharmed amidst the wreckage of their enemies. She looks up at him with a relieved smile, asking if he made it in time to save her. He looks back at her, the intense blue energy from his cybernetic arm beginning to fade. A small, glowing red fuse is shown lodged in his arm, the source of his recent power boost. The spent fuse then detaches from his arm, falling to the ground with a soft clink. He looks at the device and calmly remarks that he cut it a bit too close with the fuse this time. His companion alerts him that their pursuers are now approaching within a 3-kilometer radius. He looks up at the sky, wondering how they are being tracked since Mother's satellite should be jamming all signals. She explains that one of the pursuers can likely detect Gaia, meaning they probably tracked his specific energy signal. He considers the possibility that the enemy has deployed some of their newly developed Gaia agents against them. He checks his equipment, noting he only has 7 spare Gaia fuses and might need to use up to 3 in this fight. He knows they still have about 10 days of travel left, and he worries that his limited fuses might not be enough. He concludes that running is futile since they would be tracked down within 8 hours, forcing him to make a difficult decision. As he contemplates their situation, his companion gently touches his cloak, her expression full of concern. She tells him not to carry this heavy burden all by himself, offering her support. She says it is okay if they do not reach the mother satellite because, more than anything, she does not want him to get hurt. The young woman continues, explaining that this journey with him is more important than any other goal or hope she has. With tears in her eyes, she confesses that being with him on this journey has become her greatest reason to live. He smiles warmly and reminds her of his promise to help her reach the satellite no matter what it takes. He gently touches her hand, asking her to put her trust in him to see them through this. He tells her that he will stop the pursuers and come back, instructing her to stay hidden until he returns. She watches him with a mixture of worry and trust as he turns to face the approaching enemy alone. She pleads for him to be safe as he summons another bright blue energy blade from his arm. He then leaps into the distance, using his energy to bound across the rocky terrain toward the pursuers. As he disappears from sight, she quietly says his name, asking him to please come back to her safely. As he speeds through the desolate landscape, he notices several flashes of light in the distance. He realizes with a jolt that the flashes are explosions, a clear sign of an impending ambush. His senses scream danger as he prepares himself for the inevitable confrontation with his pursuers. He grits his teeth, narrowly dodging a sudden attack that comes from an unseen enemy. The warrior deflects another blast with his glowing blue energy, the force of the impact staggering him. He lands on the ground, his body tense as he scans his surroundings for the hidden attackers. He recognizes the danger of the situation, knowing that his enemies are skilled and well prepared. The leader of the pursuers appears, reminding him that he cannot afford to be distracted during a fight. She swings her massive pink energy scythe, her movements filled with a deadly grace and precision. Their weapons clash in a brilliant explosion of blue and pink energy, the force of their blows shaking the ground. She pushes him back with her superior strength, her eyes burning with a fierce intensity. With a menacing grin, she greets him as her former captain, revealing their shared past. She unleashes a powerful kick, the pink energy from her attack creating a sharp, explosive impact. He blocks the blow with his cybernetic arm, the force of the kick sending him skidding backward. He glares at her, his expression a mixture of surprise and annoyance at this unexpected reunion. Another member of her squad, a large armored man, crashes down with a powerful punch that shakes the earth. A sniper from the same group takes aim from a distance, confirming that their target is in sight. From his hidden vantage point, he fires a powerful energy blast, the projectile streaking toward its target. The sniper's shot is incredibly precise, aimed to take down the warrior while he is distracted. The golden energy bullet flies through the air at incredible speed, leaving a trail of light in its wake. The warrior reacts instantly, deflecting the sniper's bullet with a swift and precise swing of his energy blade. Meanwhile, the large, muscular man from the opposing squad charges forward, ready to engage in close combat. He activates his level 2 mode, a golden aura of energy erupting around his powerful fists. He scoffs at the legendary War Demon raid, claiming that his opponent does not look strong at all. With a confident grin, he declares his intention to take down the warrior and earn some glory for himself. He propels himself forward with a burst of energy, closing the distance between them in an instant. The warrior calmly watches his opponent's approach, his eyes focused and ready for the impending attack. The woman leader warns her teammate not to approach recklessly, but her words come too late. The warrior braces himself, a swirling vortex of blue energy gathering around his cybernetic arm. The large man roars for the traitor to die as he throws a powerful punch, his fist glowing with golden energy. But the warrior's eyes are sharp and focused, his gaze locked on his opponent's every move. He unleashes a cross-shaped slash of blue energy, effortlessly cutting through the man's attack and his body. The woman leader looks on, impressed that her former captain's skills have not dulled over time. She smirks, her gaze fixed on the man she once called her captain. He stands amidst the wreckage, his expression weary as he admits that it has been a long time. She questions his actions, saying she never imagined he would betray the government and run off with Speaker. He looks up at the sky and asks her what she is living for now that the war is over. She is taken aback by his question, her confident smirk fading into a look of confusion. He presses on, asking if she is simply living without purpose, blindly following orders like a machine. He then asks if it pains her that her life's purpose has been reduced to carrying out destruction at someone else's command. She retorts that the same could be said for him, angrily asking what nonsense he is spouting. She reminds him that he was the strongest warrior she had ever met, and that she truly respected him. With tears of rage in her eyes, she screams at him, demanding to know why he betrayed them. He calmly replies that he decided to live for himself, not by someone else's orders, but by his own decisions. He declares that he has chosen to live a life entirely for himself, and that nothing else matters. He readies his energy blade, stating that he has no time to waste on this pointless conversation. With a look of fierce determination, he challenges the entire squad to come at him all at once. His former comrades are shocked and angered by his arrogant declaration, their expressions a mix of disbelief and fury. The woman leader sneers at him, saying that even if he was a monster in the past, he is at a disadvantage now. His words strike a chord with her, and she briefly reflects on her own past, which was a passive life lived by orders. She remembers simply carrying out evil deeds at the command of others, a thought that now troubles her. She wonders if facing him now is some form of punishment for her past actions. A flashback shows her and her squad, younger and more innocent, happily calling out to their captain. A younger version of the warrior, with short gray hair and a stern expression, looks out over the city. He stands as a pillar of strength and leadership, a figure his squad deeply admired. He walks through the city streets, his team following closely behind, their loyalty unwavering. Another member of the squad reflects that Raid was someone they all looked up to. A younger Lydia, her expression full of admiration, walks a few steps behind her captain. Now identified as Lydia, a 20-year-old corporal and Gaia agent, she smiles shyly at the thought of him. A fellow squad member teases her, asking if she really likes their captain that much. Lydia blushes, telling her senior sergeant Canchon that he wouldn't understand her feelings. She explains that she has been hearing stories about Raid's heroic deeds ever since she was a trainee. With a determined and happy expression, she exclaims that she is now finally a member of Raid's team. Canchon simply watches her, his expression unreadable as he remains silent. He then scoffs, saying that Raid is probably not as great as the rumors make him out to be. Lydia glares at him, clearly annoyed by his dismissive and disrespectful comment. Another sergeant, a large man named Paul, calls out for everyone to prepare for deployment. Raid, a 27-year-old captain and Gaia soldier, stands with a stoic and serious expression. He gives a simple order to move out, and the squad begins to follow him into the city. Lydia looks on with admiration, her excitement barely contained as she finally gets to work with her hero. She can't help but smile, overjoyed that she is finally a part of the legendary Raid's team. But the reality of their mission was far crueler than she had ever imagined, as she witnesses a scene of utter destruction. In the ruined city, a group of soldiers are begging for their lives, offering to surrender to an unseen enemy. Raid stands before them, his red energy blade glowing ominously, his expression cold and unforgiving. He tells them that they have crossed a line that can never be uncrossed, sealing their fate. He then unleashes a furious attack, cutting down the surrendering soldiers without a hint of mercy. Lydia watches in horror as her hero slaughters the defenseless men, their screams echoing in the ruined streets. She is completely shocked and terrified, unable to comprehend the brutal violence she is witnessing. Her comrades are also taken aback, their expressions a mix of fear and confusion as they watch their captain. The brutal massacre continues, the soldiers' bodies torn apart by the relentless and merciless attacks. The battlefield is littered with the bodies of the fallen soldiers, a grim testament to the brutality of the fight. The city burns around them, the air thick with smoke and the smell of destruction. Lydia stares in disbelief, her mind struggling to accept the horrific reality of war she is now a part of. She is suddenly snapped out of her daze as an enemy soldier lunges at her, his weapon glowing with deadly energy. She freezes in fear, her body unable to react as the soldier's attack closes in on her. But before the blow can land, Raid appears, his own energy blade clashing with the enemy's in a brilliant explosion. He sternly tells the rookie not to leave his side, his voice a calm anchor in the midst of the chaos. Lydia looks up at him, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear, relief, and a newfound respect. Raid continues his relentless assault, his red energy blade a blur of motion as he cuts down another enemy. He moves with a deadly efficiency, his every strike calculated to inflict maximum damage on his foes. His attacks are both powerful and precise, a testament to his years of experience on the battlefield. He turns to his squad, ordering Paul to move forward and press the attack against the remaining enemies. Paul, the large, heavily armored sergeant, charges forward without hesitation, his fists glowing with power. He acknowledges his captain's orders, his gaze fixed on the enemy with a look of grim determination. Suddenly, Raid shouts a warning, telling his squad that incoming artillery is about to strike their position. Enemy robots from the rooftops above unleash a coordinated barrage of powerful energy blasts. Paul immediately moves to protect his captain and Lydia, using his own body as a shield against the incoming fire. Raid screams for everyone to find cover, his voice filled with a desperate urgency. The artillery strikes with incredible force, the massive explosions tearing through the ruined city streets. Paul takes the full brunt of the attack, the brilliant light and force of the blasts engulfing him completely. Paul yells that his barrier will only last for another 20 seconds, his face strained from the effort. Raid turns to Lydia, telling the rookie that he is counting on her to watch his back. He then shouts for Canchoni to return fire, trusting his squad to provide cover while he presses the attack. Canchoni takes aim with his large energy cannon, the weapon humming with power as it charges up. He confirms the order, his eyes narrowed in concentration as he locks onto the enemy robots. He unleashes a massive blast of blue energy, the powerful beam tearing through the enemy ranks. The robots are hit directly, their metallic bodies ripped apart by the sheer force of the attack. The battlefield is momentarily obscured by a thick cloud of smoke and debris from the explosion. One of the larger machines emerges from the smoke, its armor scorched but still functional. Raid and Lydia leap into action, their energy weapons glowing as they charge toward the remaining enemy. Raid's expression is a mask of fierce determination as he prepares to strike the final blow. He and Lydia move in perfect sync, their combined attacks overwhelming the last of their opponents. They leap through the air, their movements a blur of deadly grace as they cut down the remaining robots. They fight back to back, a whirlwind of red and pink energy that decimates everything in its path. Lydia looks on in amazement as a nearby robot's cannon charges up, its light growing brighter. She grits her teeth, her body tense as she prepares to face the new wave of attacks. The force of a nearby explosion sends her stumbling, her grip on her weapon tightening. She unleashes a powerful circular slash of her own, the pink energy from her scythe cutting through an enemy. She notes with surprise that Raid did not even look back, his focus entirely on the enemies in front of him. She realizes with a jolt that he trusted her, a rookie, to handle the enemies at their back. Raid continues his relentless assault, his red energy blade a blur of motion as he cuts down the enemy robots. He moves with a deadly efficiency, his every strike calculated to inflict maximum damage on his foes. After the battle, he stands amidst the wreckage, his gaze fixed on the smoldering remains of his enemies. Lydia looks on, her expression a mixture of awe and confusion at the brutal efficiency of her captain. She hears a faint cough from a nearby pile of rubble, and her captain's attention is immediately drawn to the sound. A lone, heavily injured soldier lies trapped beneath the wreckage, his body battered and broken. Without a moment's hesitation, Raid lunges forward, his energy blade ready to strike the final blow. He tells Lydia that there is no mercy in war, and that their only purpose is to complete the mission. He explains that their personal feelings are irrelevant, and that they must do whatever it takes to succeed. Lydia is taken aback by his cold and detached demeanor, her admiration for him beginning to waver. She remembers the warrior she once admired, a hero who fought for justice and protected the innocent. She recalls the long time she spent with him, fighting alongside him as a trusted comrade in countless battles. She learned so much from him, not just about combat, but about survival and leadership as well. Their time together in the harsh wilderness only deepened her respect and admiration for him. They traveled through desolate landscapes, their shared experiences forging a strong bond between them. She dreamed of becoming a great warrior who could stand by his side, a worthy and trusted partner. Her admiration for him was a powerful motivator, driving her to become stronger and more skilled. But near the end of the war, he suddenly and inexplicably left the special forces. After a ceasefire was declared, their unit was disbanded, and Raid followed his new orders without a single complaint. Even at the moment of their disbandment, he offered no fancy words or emotional goodbyes. Lydia recalls the moment she realized her feelings for Raid were more than just respect. After he left, she was left alone in the unit, her heart heavy with a sense of loss and confusion. Her dream of standing beside him as an equal was shattered, and she was assigned a new dangerous S-rank mission. She was informed that the war hero Raid had disobeyed orders and fled after stealing a valuable government resource. Her new mission was to execute the national traitor and retrieve the stolen asset, a task that filled her with dread. She couldn't understand why her idol, the man she admired so much, would break the rules and abandon his duty. Her dream of fighting alongside him was now replaced with the horrific reality of having to hunt him down. Back in the present, Raid's eyes are filled with a cold and detached determination as he faces his former subordinate. Lydia glares at him, her heart filled with a mixture of anger and betrayal, believing he has destroyed her dream. With a furious roar, she unleashes a powerful attack, vowing to execute him for his perceived crimes. The scene returns to the present, with Raid and Lydia locked in a fierce clash of wills and weapons. He effortlessly blocks her attack, his cybernetic arm holding her back with ease. Another member of her squad joins the fray, his armored form a stark contrast to Lydia's more agile build. Lydia presses her attack, her scythe grinding against Raid's energy blade with a shower of sparks. Raid's expression remains calm and focused, his gaze unwavering as he easily parries her blows. Lydia taunts him, saying that while he was rotting away in the borderlands, she was growing stronger on the battlefield. She channels more energy into her scythe, the pink aura around it glowing brighter and more intensely. She grits her teeth, her entire body tense as she puts all of her strength into a single powerful strike. She unleashes a massive wave of pink energy, the force of the attack tearing through the surrounding debris. Raid is momentarily taken aback by the sheer power of her attack, his eyes widening in surprise. She continues her relentless assault, a whirlwind of pink energy that leaves a trail of destruction in its wake. With a grunt of effort, she swings her scythe again, the energy from her attack creating a massive explosion. Raid meets her attack with one of his own, the clash of their weapons creating a brilliant burst of light. He is pushed back by the force of her attack, his feet skidding across the ground as he absorbs the impact. He lands gracefully, his energy blade held at the ready as he prepares for her next move. He remains silent, his expression a mixture of surprise and a newfound respect for his former subordinate's strength. He then calls out the names of her fallen comrades, Kanchon, Paul, and Lena, their images flashing before his eyes. He remembers Kanchon, the skilled marksman, and Paul, the loyal and powerful sergeant who sacrificed himself. He then recalls Lena, another member of their squad. Raid smirks, noting that she has really put the old team back together for this mission. He coldly asks Sergeant Lydia if she is still clinging to the ghosts of her past. Lydia grits her teeth, her body trembling with a mixture of anger and frustration. She screams at him not to talk nonsense, her voice filled with a desperate fury. She unleashes another powerful attack, her pink energy scythe clashing against his blue blade. Raid calmly observes her attack, noting that it is not just limited to destructive power, but also has a wide range. He realizes that her Gaia has been enhanced, but only in its range and raw power. A sniper from her squad takes another shot, the turquoise energy bullet streaking toward him. But Raid easily deflects the shots, noting that they do not contain the essence of Gaia itself. He concludes that their technology has not advanced that far yet, giving him a slight advantage. With a look of grim determination, he decides to face the other dangers head-on to figure out their weaknesses. Lena, another member of the squad, lunges at him with a glowing yellow energy blade. She shouts that she has detected no hostile intent, her expression a mixture of confusion and determination. She continues her attack, her yellow blade a blur of motion as she closes in on her target. But as her blade is about to strike, Raid's hand moves with incredible speed, easily blocking her attack. Lena is shocked, unable to comprehend how he could have stopped her so easily. She realizes with a jolt that there was no impact when she hit him, as if she had struck a ghost. Raid moves with an incredible, almost supernatural speed, creating multiple afterimages of himself. He appears behind her in an instant, his hand grabbing her by the hood of her cloak. He calmly explains that for a swordsman engaged in close combat, she has a fatal weakness. He clenches his fist, reminding her that hand-to-hand fighting skills are also essential for a true warrior. He then delivers a powerful blow to her stomach, the force of the impact sending her flying backward. Lydia curses him, her body aching from the powerful and unexpected strike. She recovers quickly, swinging her scythe in a wide arc to keep him at a distance. but he moves with incredible speed, appearing behind her in an instant and grabbing her by the back of her collar. He throws her to the ground with ease, her body tumbling through the air before crashing into the rubble. He raises his energy blade, preparing to block an incoming attack from an unseen enemy. He realizes with a jolt that the sniper is using some form of stealth, making it impossible to tell where the shot came from. Multiple turquoise energy blasts rain down from the sky, forcing him to stay on the defensive. He identifies the sniper's ability as Level 2 Hide, a powerful stealth technique that renders the user invisible. The sniper continues his relentless barrage, the energy blasts creating a massive explosion of turquoise light. Raid is forced to run, his body a blur of motion as he dodges the incoming attacks. He creates two massive walls of blue energy, blocking the sniper's shots with his own powerful abilities. The energy walls hold strong, deflecting the turquoise blasts and creating a massive shockwave. The ground cracks and shatters under the immense pressure of the clashing energy forces. He taunts the sniper, telling him that he will not be able to dodge his next attack. He reaches for another fuse, declaring that there is something more important than technological advancement. He inserts the new fuse into his cybernetic arm, the device glowing with an intense blue light. He activates his full-over Level 3 mode, a massive wave of blue energy erupting from his body. The battlefield is consumed by a brilliant explosion of blue light as he unleashes his full power. The sniper is shocked as Raid appears before him, his stealth completely broken by the powerful energy wave. Raid declares that experience is the true key to victory, as he delivers a powerful blow to the now vulnerable sniper. He then turns his attention back to Lydia, telling her that he has found her hidden teammate. Lydia screams at him not to make her laugh, her pride wounded by his effortless takedown of her squad. She charges forward, but Raid easily sidesteps her attack, his movements fluid and precise. He reminds her that her movements have too many openings, a fatal flaw for a warrior. A blue light flashes in his eye as he analyzes her attack patterns, predicting her every move. She is suddenly engulfed in a wave of blue energy, her body frozen in place by an unseen force. She struggles against the invisible pressure, recognizing the terrifying technique he is using. He has activated his spatial area pulse, a technique that turns everything within a certain radius to ash through particle vibration. Raid grits his teeth, the immense power of the technique taking a heavy toll on his body. Lydia screams in agony as the vibrations tear through her, her body on the verge of disintegration. She wonders if this is the end, her body and her dreams about to be turned to dust by the man she once admired.